The World Series. It's full of historic moments. David Freese's walk-off home run in Game 6 in 2011, the earthquake in Game 3 in 1989. There have been memorable moments in the Fall Classic. There is one moment we are going to talk about today. The Obstruction Call in Game 3 of the 2013 World Series. Play the intro. Despite winning a pair of World Series in 2004 and 2007, the Boston Red Sox had a sour taste in their mouth after 2011. Going into September, the Red Sox were first in the AL East, a game and a half ahead of the Yankees. 9 games behind them were the Rays. Despite this, Boston would implode, going 7-18. Tampa Bay, on the other hand, went 16-10. That included the Rays taking 6 of 7 against the Red Sox. Going into game 162, the Rays and Red Sox were tied with identical 90 and 71 records. In 2011, there was only one wild card for each league. It seemed like the Red Sox would take the final wild card. In Baltimore, the Red Sox were holding on to a 3-2 lead over the Orioles. The Sox and O's paused for a rain delay. Meanwhile, in St. Petersburg, the Yankees, their biggest rival, were beating the snot out of the Rays. New York was up 7-0 in the 5th. Should be over. The Rays were out and the Red Sox just needed to hold on and win. But in a twist of fate, the Rays would chip away at the deficit, shrinking it to 7-6. As the rain stopped in Baltimore and the teams returned to the field, the Rays would tie the game at 7 in the 9th. Now the pressure was on the Red Sox. But Boston still had a chance. They forced the O's to their last out, but would let it slip. The Orioles tied the game and won on a walk-off. The Rays would win on a walk-off in the 12th, claiming the only wildcard spot. On the flip side, the Cardinals were feeling good. On August 28, 2011, the Cardinals were 10.5 games back of the Brewers in the NL Central and 10 games back of the Braves in the NL wildcard. But, similar to Tampa, St. Louis went on a hot streak, going 20-8. Just like Boston, Atlanta would collapse as well, going 10-18. In that stretch, the Cardinals swept the Braves in a crucial series. In game 162, the Cardinals shut out the Astros and the Braves let a 3-1 lead slip, then fell in 13 innings to the Phillies. St. Louis would ride that momentum to a World Series win. 2012 saw a shaky title defense in the regular season, but a September hot streak and a Pirates collapse allowed the Cardinals to take the second and final wildcard spot. In the newly made wildcard game, the Cardinals, with the help of a controversial infield fly call by the umpires, knocked off the aforementioned Braves. Then in the NLDS, the Cardinals pulled off an improbable comeback in Game 5 over the Washington Nationals to advance to the NLCS. The Cards went up 3-1 over the Giants, but would be outscored 20-1 in 3 straight games, blowing a 3-1 series lead. Meanwhile in Boston, the collapse loomed over the Red Sox all season as they finished last in the AL East. 2013 saw both teams go on different paths to get here. St. Louis had a bit of a challenging season, fighting off the Pittsburgh Pirates and Cincinnati Reds for the NL Central. They got it together down the stretch and took both the division and the top spot in the National League. Boston had a challenging season as well, but that was due to more external factors. On April 15, 2013, a bomb went off at the Boston Marathon. 3 people were killed and many people were injured and wounded. Boston Strong became the rallying cry among Bostonians, and the Red Sox rallied with their city. A great turnaround with new manager John Farrell led the Red Sox to an AL East crown and the top spot in the American League. In the NLDS, the Cardinals faced the Pirates, who finished second, 3 games back of the Cards. Pittsburgh was coming off a euphoric wildcard win over the Reds. The Cardinals would rout the Pirates in Game 1, while the Bucks evened the series in Game 2. In Pittsburgh, the Pirates pushed the Redbirds to the brink of elimination with a Game 3 win, but the Cards would force a Game 5 in St. Louis with a close 2-1 win. In Game 5, Adam Wainwright would go all 9 innings, allowing only 1 run. The Cardinals would get 6, advancing to the NLCS and making the Pirates walk the plank. Meanwhile, in the American League, the Red Sox faced the Rays, the same team that jumped them for the wildcard spot 2 years ago. In both games at Fenway, the Red Sox blasted the Rays with a combined 19 runs in 2 games. Tampa would get back in the series with the walk-off in Game 3, but Boston would slam the door in Game 4. Back to the National League. In the NLCS, the Cardinals faced a longtime foe, the Los Angeles Dodgers. St. Louis won Game 1 on a walk-off in 13 innings, and Game 2 with a shutout. In Game 3 in LA, the Dodgers would shut out the Cardinals to get back in the series. In Game 4, the Cards upended the Dodgers to be 1 win away from the World Series. The Dodgers would force a Game 6 with a 6-4 win in Game 5, but unlike the year prior, the Cardinals would get business done with a convincing 9-0 win, sending them to the World Series for the second time in 3 years. In the ALCS, the Red Sox faced the Detroit Tigers. The Tigers would take Game 1 with a close 1-0 win. In Game 2, David Ortiz hit a game-tying grand slam, and Boston got a walk-off in the 9th, evening the series. Both teams would split the next 2. Boston took Game 5 to go up 3-2 in the series. In Game 6, with Detroit up 2-1, Shane Victorino would put Boston ahead with another grand slam. Red Sox closer Koji Uehara would keep the Tigers scoreless, sending the Red Sox to the World Series. The 2013 World Series between the St. Louis Cardinals and the Boston Red Sox. This was the 4th time these teams have met in the Fall Classic. The Cardinals took the first matchup in 1946 thanks to Eno Slaughter's mad dash in Game 7. In 1967, St. Louis nearly blew a 3-1 lead but won in Game 7 thanks to a dominating performance by pitcher Bob Gibson. 2004 saw the Red Sox break the curse of the Bambino with a sweep over the Cardinals. In Game 1, Boston began with 3 runs in the first inning and 2 in the second. Shaky defensive plays would plague St. Louis. The Red Sox would add 3 more in the 7th and 8th. The Cardinals would get 1 in the 9th with a home run, but were shut down by Uehara. In Game 2, St. Louis would get their first lead of the series with a run in the 4th. Ortiz would put Boston on top with a 2-run home run, but in the 7th, the Cardinals would go back on top thanks to a bad throw by Red Sox pitcher Craig Breslow. Closer Trevor Rosenthal would shut the door on the Red Sox, evening the series. The series shifted to a surprisingly warm St. Louis. Game 3 started in favor of the Cardinals with 2 runs in the first. The Red Sox would tie the game with separate runs in the 5th and 6th. The Redbirds would regain the lead off a Matt Holliday double, scoring 2 runs. The Sox would even the game once again in the 8th. Then came the 9th. With 1 out, Yadier Molina singled. Out went Brandon Workman, in came Koji Uehara to try and get the game to extra innings. The normally reliable Uehara started by allowing a double to pinch hitter Alan Craig. Molina moved to third. Then came John Jay. Jay hit a grounder to second baseman Dustin Pedroia, who threw home to catcher Jared Satalamacchia. Satalamacchia tagged Molina out at home, then threw to third. However, the throw went past third. Craig tripped on third baseman Will Middlebrooks. Craig got up and charged towards home. Left fielder Daniel Nava threw the ball to home. The tag clearly beat Craig at home. However, home plate umpire Dania Tamuth ruled him safe and pointed to third. Third base umpire Jim Joyce ruled that Middlebrooks had tripped Craig after the throw went past him. Joyce had ruled an obstruction the moment Craig was tripped by Middlebrooks.
While the victory fireworks went off at Busch Stadium, the Red Sox were stunned and demanded an explanation. Joyce and DeMuth both gave the same argument. Middlebrooks had tripped Craig, preventing a fair play at the plate.
If Craig hadn't been tripped, would he have beaten the tag? I'm not sure. Nava immediately went after the ball once it went past Middlebrooks. Following the game, Red Sox manager John Farrell said, "They got the call right. I don't like the rule, but they got the call right." It was the right thing for Boston to say. You can't argue that it was a bad call when it was a clear trip by Middlebrooks on Craig.
So how did Boston respond?
In Game 4, Johnny Gomes gave Boston a 3-run lead with a back-breaking 3-run homer. St. Louis got 1 run back in the 7th. In the bottom of the 9th, Uehara caught Cardinals pinch runner Colton Wong sleeping at first. Cardinals fans were stunned. This was the first time a pickoff ended a World Series game since 1926 when the Cardinals caught Babe Ruth trying to steal second in Game 7. Game 5 was a tight match. Boston went up 1-0 in the first. Matt Holliday evened it with a home run in the 4th. Then in the 7th, Boston tacked on 2 runs. That would prove to be enough as the Cardinals went scoreless. Game 6 was the killing blow. The Red Sox pounced for 6 runs in the 3rd and 4th combined. The Cardinals threatened in the 7th but were stopped. The Red Sox had won the World Series. 5 years later, the Red Sox would win another title. Today, the Red Sox are cycling mediocrity. Between ownership becoming complacent and threats in their division, the Red Sox are a team that will probably have to suffer through mediocrity for a while. But it's not like anyone outside of New England feels bad for them. As for the Cardinals, this was the last time they made the World Series. Since 2014, the Cardinals have lost in the NLCS twice, the NLDS once, and the wildcard game or series thrice. Today, I have no idea what the Cardinals are. I want them to win the World Series, but the way they are being run does not make me confident. The only way they could win is if management is overhauled. Marmol and Mozeliak need to go, but it's not like that is happening anytime soon. One more thing. If the DeWitts want public money for these renovations, then the Cardinals need to win the World Series. After researching this, I'm starting to wonder, was the obstruction call a curse on the Cardinals? We'll never know. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed, like, subscribe, and ring the bell. Today's shoutout goes to Nicole Hayden. I'll see you in the next video.